Okay, this is Chapter 4, Fingerprinting and Social Engineering. Well, if I can get it to work. There we go. Okay, there's a lot of web tools out there. Now, they talk about one in particular. I do not have that one here to show you. I think it's included in the labs. Greg, you probably went through here, so you'll be able to tell me if it is or not. But we're going to talk about a few things having to do with it and a couple other tools. They start talking about, it says, many attackers case the joint. You've seen movies where people, you look around. I mean, think of it. If someone's going to rob your house, what's the first thing they're going to do? Look around. I mean, see if there's stuff unlocked or open. It's weird. I live in a decent neighborhood, and someone keeps stealing trailers. They literally went to my neighbor's backyard and stole his trailer and drove off with it. It was, it's crazy. But they normally look over the location, find weaknesses, the types of locks, whatever they have. Okay. The guy, when they were remodeling my house, he kept leaving his big, huge trailer in my yard. He had a lock on it, but I was like, I'm not responsible if your trailer gets stolen because, people can break locks as well. Okay. You must do the same thing about an organization. Kevin Mitnick wrote a book called Ghost in the Wires. I don't know if you've read it. That's another amazing book as well. It's available in the Metropolitan Library in both digital and audio format. He talks about all the stuff he did, and I mean, it's crazy. He would find out information about companies, and he would exploit them and rob them blind, basically. So, kind of cool information. They talk about finding information on a company's network, passive, non-intrusive type stuff, and there's a lot of tools. So we're going to walk through a lot of this stuff. Okay. Active footprint. You're scanning the network. You're going to look. They talk about things like scan the network, do DNS zone transfers, which you do more in Chapter 6. Port scans. What do you think? Are they legal or illegal?
And it differs from place to place.
Well, okay. So you can kind of think of a port scan as checking the doors are unlocked. Do you agree? So if you were to walk around Rose State tonight, checking each door, is that illegal?
Not strictly, but it's
I would say it's not really illegal, but it would be suspicious. So, a port scan is you're looking at ports to see if they're there at all. Some of you did the GRC thing. This is the class I told you all about the GRC thing, isn't it? Yeah, I know one or two of you did that. I did, okay. But with port scans, you're checking to see if a port even exists and if it's open or closed. Okay. Think of it like at your house. The door can be open, the door can be closed, or there can be no door at all. So you're really checking all the different states of it.
My house doesn't have a door.
Yes. I come in through the chimney. Okay. DNS zone transfers. DNS is a very important part. It's probably one of the most important parts. It's kind of like the phone book for the internet. In my Monday night class, I know no one's in that class, but I actually talked a whole bunch about it. I read a book. A lot of them. You were in never security class?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you heard this then. The rest of them didn't hear this. But I read a book, and they were talking about the DNS system in general. Now, the DNS is made up of 13, basically, root servers. Okay? There's 13 of them worldwide. There was a virus that took down like 10 of them. And the system still functioned with only 3 worldwide. But they were talking about how the system actually worked and how they thought about it. And it's actually even set up so that the actual root zone certificate is actually printed out on paper, stored in 2 different briefcases, held by 2 different people today, even right now. So that if the entire system, they can actually rebuild it from scratch based upon that information. It was like, wow, whoever thought about this is like crazy. I never would have thought to get that in depth. But here's why zone transfers can be a problem, okay? Imagine if Google allowed me to transfer their zone. What a zone is it's all the information about their network for the most part. Like the names to the numbers mapping. So www.google.com maps to a specific number. If I went over here and if I did CMD and if I did NS lookup, if I did that, you'll see that Google is 172.217.9.4. That name maps to that number, okay? That's stored in their DNS zone, okay? Well, stores a lot of other stuff as well. It stores information about their mail servers, about their host records, their SPF settings. Stores all kinds of information about Google's network. Okay? You normally have split, in other words, an internal DNS and an external DNS, the public and the private. But imagine if I was to take a copy of the Google public DNS, in other words, all the information about their public addresses, okay, and store it here on my computer, okay, and change it. Point all the addresses to malicious, like Google sites that look really close but aren't real. And then all of a sudden I told all of you that I'm your DNS. First thing you're going to do is ask me if I know anything about Google. And I'm going to say, oh yeah, I am Google. And I'm going to give you this fake or this bogus information. So I said, when I ran my ISP.
DNS poisoning.
Yeah, kind of the same thing, yeah. When I ran my ISP, what I did was, when I was going to, a lot of times people would come to me, say, I want to move my website to me. Okay, move from someone else to me. So what I would do is I would contact their current provider, and I would do a zone transfer. So I did St. Philip Neri Catholic School. I did theirs. So I contacted Logix and got a copy of their DNS zone and transferred it to me. Then I just changed the numbers to match my settings. So it's an easy way to do it, but it can be very malicious if not done correctly. Normally, DNS zone transfers are not allowed. It's like Google most likely only allows them between their own servers, which makes sense. But what if they forgot to turn that on? You know, I mean, I ran an ISP because I had worked at one, because a friend of mine ran one. Did I have any official government mandated training? No, I just did it. And it was funny because when I started running mine, a friend of mine gave me all of his configuration for his firewall, his router, basically. And his plan was let everything in and block the bad stuff. What do you think? Is that a good plan? That's well, that's kind of like the TSA works, if you think about it. The TSA lets everybody through unless you're on the bad guy list. Make sense?
Yeah, they can't have a list of every civilian.
But for a network, is that a good plan?
You're actually better off doing whitelisting where you only allow the traffic you want. Because
exactly what Greg just said. So what I did, I said, you know, that's stupid. What I really need to do is allow the good traffic in and block everything else. Like on a network, I'm going to allow port 80 in because that's web traffic. I'm going to allow 25 for mail. I'm going to allow 110 for pop. So I'm going to allow a certain traffic in and block everything else. Makes sense, doesn't it? Allow the good traffic in, block everything else. Well, that was the exact opposite of what he did. He basically allowed everything in and blocked the bad stuff. How about you don't know what the bad stuff is? So the SQL Slammer worm came out the same time we were both running our ISPs. And he called me, he's like, Ken, we're dead. We are dead in the water. Because the Slammer worm took down SQL databases. And it was like, I think, port 1433. I might be wrong on that. But it went across the internet looking for servers on port 433, basically exploited vulnerability and took them offline. His entire system went down. His radio server, which handles all his authentication, went down. His entire server was down. He goes, dude, you're going to be dead. I'm like, why? He goes, Slammer worm. Yeah, 1434. I was close. It's close. So we've been 15 years. But I'm not worried about it. He's like, what do you mean you're not worried about it? He goes, dude, I redid my network long ago because I knew the way you were doing it was stupid. So I said, what I did was, for a week, I intermittently scanned all my traffic to see what traffic was going on, to find out what was happening on my network. That was kind of like getting a baseline of what the good information is. And if it was good, I redid mine, so I let in the good stuff and blocked everything else, basically. So if you're not listed as a good guy, I'm not going to let you in. What kind of would suck for the TSA, but if you think about it, see, I have global entry. Anyone else have global entry here? It's amazing. I had to go to, you have global entry?
I was asking one.
Okay. Global entry is like TSA pre. It's actually TSA pre costs $85 for 5 years. Global entry costs $100. I had to fill out an application online, go down to Dallas, and sit there for 2 minutes and look stupid to some guy. But another story. But anytime I go through customs now, I have a card that they just, oh, you're good. I've been pre-screened, in other words. So I've been whitelisted. They now know that Ken Dewey is somewhat of a good guy. So they don't have to do a big background check on me. And I tell you, I was coming off a cruise a couple of Christmases ago, and I was in zone 25. So we got off the cruise, and I grabbed my bags. And the lines to go, and we're talking thousands of people getting off this cruise ship. So the lines through customs are longer than you can imagine. Global entry had 2 people in it. So I got off at zone 25. I grabbed my bags, I walked right up, right through customs in a matter of a couple of minutes. When I was going through customs, people in zone 10 were going through customs. So that means everyone from 10 through 25 was back there in those long lines. So, but that's kind of what it is. You know, I was whitelisted. In other words, they knew I was a good guy, so they let me through customs quicker now. And once you have global entry, you automatically get TSA pre, and I never have to take my shoes off anymore or any of that stuff. So it's really a good system. Okay. Also, active fingerprinting, it says interacting with their web server to see what's available on the web server. Did they configure it correctly? I ran a shopping cart called VPASP years ago, and it turned out it had a SQL injection bug on it. And someone got in and stole like 400 credit cards. That sucked. It sucked really bad. Had to send the entire server to New York, and all it was pain in the ass. Okay. So the security tester tried to discover as much as possible about your organization and its network. If you're going to break into Rose State, you're probably going to look around for a while, find out what's going on, find out as much as you possibly can. Okay. So yeah, with Google, you can uncover files, system sites. There's all kinds of different tools. Google knows a lot. Okay. Now ask Google questions. Has anyone ever seen, let's see, Wayback Web, or it's called something else now? Web Archive. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Kind of
Just
like updated the
how can I want to go anyway. Help me.
advanced. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Proceed to it. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to, actually, I'm going to bring up another tab and go to rose.edu. This is the Rose State website. Should look familiar to some of you, okay? Now I'm going to go here and go to rose.edu. And let's pick a day. Let's go back a while. Let's go back till, when do you want to go back to? Let's do 2005. About February 28th, 2005. It didn't work. Seriously? Maybe Rose's website sucks. Sometimes. Working? There it is. That is the February, whatever date I clicked on. Was that February 2011 or something? So think about this. Maybe now the Rose State website, they kind of hid all the personal information. But years ago, you know, I have First National Bank as my bank. Years ago, they assigned everybody a personal banker. That was, they were supposed to get to know the customer. So when you needed help, you go see that person. They included all their contact information, their names, their phone numbers, their emails, and everything on their website. Is that a good plan? It's really not, because that's why you get so many spam and so much junk. But who knows? Maybe back in whenever, this is February 28, 2011, and I bet there's other information on there. So use websites like this, because maybe they had, you know, now it's better, but, you know, it's just crazy. You know, there's whatever, the next year.
Look at that the old YouTube logo.
There's 2012. Probably look the same. Yep. Let's do 2013. Okay, here's 2013 coming up. Still looks pretty much the same. Yeah, so we didn't update it for a long time. Here's 14. Seriously? Wow. Let's go to 15. No, we updated it sooner or later.
Eventually.
I don't remember that. I can't.
Oh, there we go. 15 is different. So 2015, it changed. So, I mean, that's just one of the tools you could use, okay? And there's lots of, Multigo has a lot of information. Google Groups, oh, there's Wayback Machine right there, the way I just showed you. Just lots of different places. Aaron.net shows you everything about who owns that IP scheme. Who is, I think they mentioned who is here in a second. Actually, who is in the, oh, was on there? Okay, yeah, who is, you can find out, you know, the information about the IPs. wget, I just talked about wget in the prior class. Use wget, download the entire website, because maybe there's files that are not linked quite right. And when in my forensics class, you're going to need it, because there's going to be a file in one of the labs that doesn't quite show up right. If you use wget, you can get it correctly. Okay, just lots of different. It says, numerous resources available to find intelligent information or information legally, like, you know, Nmap, for instance, is a port scanner. It's not illegal to use it. But
in this state.
Yeah, it's kind of like, again, I tried the door handle and it was locked. But what if it was open and I walked in? Did I break the law then? You know, I don't know.
It may or may not be against your ISP service.
Okay. It says, explain methods used, says have a good understanding of the methods. Pretty much every resource out there has many different ways to use it. And
Can I put a link out in the chat for the open source intelligence framework? It's a complete listing of all these, a lot of tools. It's probably the best one I've seen. There you go.
Nice. Social networks, people, search engines. Here we go. We can find out about people. There. Oh. Registries, public records. Wow. Voter records. I mean, Oklahoma voter ID, they put so much information out there. Voter registration data. You know, you go online and find out my entire paycheck. It's all on there. Because we're a public school. You can see every bit of money they pay me. So, you know, it's crazy. So, yeah, this is kind of cool. I like
public
this.
organizations have to have all that stuff that's public, right?
Yes.
Is there a way for you to
It's going to be on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always up there. So, okay, but yeah, that's really a good link, Greg. Thank you. All right, so there's just lots of, and you know, I show you a lot of tools, but I'll tell you right now, I don't have time to learn all the brand new stuff on the market. I don't have time. So a lot of times, you know, there's actually a conference going on tomorrow in Shawnee at OBU. Don't know if it costs money or not. 3 of the speakers, 3 of the 5 or 6 are actually prior students of mine. It's like, wow, because I mean, some of them are real big wigs now. Yeah, so you're going to that one? Yeah, 3 of the speakers are my students. Joseph Sullivan. I can't remember their names now. Yeah, 3 students of mine. So, yeah. But so you know, there's a lot of information, and you know, take this program here at Rose State. It's kind of like a starting point. Get your feet wet, get you an idea, and then build upon it. Okay. All right. It says web page is an easy source of critical information. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff out there on these websites. Especially we can go back and look at old stuff. Now, Zap or Zed attack proxy. Okay, I might have used this exact one. I can't remember if it was this exact one or another one. But let me tell you what this tool does. It's part of the OWASP project. And OWASP, I'll show you what that means. It's the OWASP, I can never remember. It's the Open Web Application Security Project. There is so much information up here. It's amazing. You can go up here and, I mean, there's practice labs on their website. There's lots of information you can use to find out more about what we're talking about here. But the Zed attack proxy, what it does, you put in a website, and it goes out and it searches that website. And they talk about it, and it has something called plug and hack, which is kind of, I mentioned it in Monday's class, because it goes out to the website. Okay, in Monday, I was mentioning ski wax. That was Monday, wasn't it? Okay. When I went to a training class in there, there's a website. I can't remember the name of it, but they sell ski wax. Okay. You can use a web proxy just like Zap, because Zap will go out to the website and it'll get the information, but allow you to edit it before it returns back. So imagine shopping for a product like ski wax, for example. I go there and say, I want to buy 1 package of this $200 ski wax. And what happens is once I put in the one of this item and hit submit, the proxy grabs the information but doesn't send it to the server. Then I can go in and edit it. So I can change this price from $200 to 2 cents and then send it on. We actually did a live and it worked perfectly. So you can change the prices of products because their website is not written correctly. Because the way their website works was, right, they had the quantity and prices on the website. Not a good plan. You want, like when you go to Amazon, can you imagine? Yeah, we see the prices, but when we click add to cart, if we had the ability to change that price, that would not be a good thing. It would for us, but not for Amazon. So this ski wax place was written that way. But this gives you the ability to do that. You can intercept and manipulate the traffic. So you can catch it before it's sent back to the server. It's like when you click submit, it'll catch it. Then you go ahead and change the data and then send it on. Kind of like a man in the middle attack kind of. Okay? So we're not walking. I'm not sure if it's on the lab. Greg, did you walk through the lab? Was this part of the project in the labs? Greg, you there? I don't know if Greg's there, but
but I don't remember, to be honest with you. I don't think it was. You can set this up in Kali. I think this is a part of Kali. You can go in and it's got the proxy already set up for you in Firefox.
Yeah, and there's another version of it on there. Kali as well. If you haven't used Kali Linux yet, you will be using it in this class. Go to Kali.org. It's an amazing tool. It's got all this stuff built into it. But it's just cool what you can do. So you can see here, it has all the GET requests. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But it allows you to get the information off the websites and then edit it. It says there's an active scan feature. It's to look for vulnerabilities. It can just do all, and even ranks them for you. This one's a big vulnerability, and this one's a small vulnerability, that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. Who is utility? Who is kind of tells you everything about the address, the IP address, or maybe the domain, who owns it, the point of contact. It's just a lot of stuff there. Email addresses. How many of you love spam? We all love it. I must admit, Google does a really good job of getting rid of spam. It really does. Sometimes I like a lot of spam examples for demos in class, but it gets rid of so many. It's like, darn it, I'm losing them. But there's a program out there called Cool. I know it's on Kali. It's CEWL. It can generate word lists, but it also has a email harvester built into it. Somewhere in here. Let's find email. Version 4 -- email. It says 0. That's not it. But I know it does it. It creates two. There it is. Version 2 of Cool can create 2 lists: a list of email addresses found in mail to links and other stuff. So, you can run Cool against a website. I actually was trying to make a project use it, but it was too buggy. It wasn't good enough for me to assign you to use it because I could just see too many issues. But there's tools that can go out and just capture every email address on the website. Can you imagine going to a big bank that had all their emails of everybody listed on there? You had them all, and you send them all a bunch of phishing attacks? Someone's going to answer it.
Whale phishing.
Yeah, exactly. Whale phishing, like you said. Okay.
Most people most people now are hiding the emails and they're putting them behind pictures or something like that where you
try. Even mine. Here's what I do here. A lot of my stuff. I put like kdewey @rose.edu. That won't catch that. Yet you as a person can read that as kdewey @rose.edu. But Cool won't catch that.
It's really easy to see, but an automated tool.
Right. Automated tool. So I think it's actually in my syllabus that way. I told Rose State's website people that you should do that with all of them. No, they won't. They just leave them all on there. I'm like, and you wonder why we get all this junk mail. Crap. Okay. So, but emails, you can find out Google Groups has lots of information. There's just lots of it out there. Now they start talking about port or HTTP, Hypertext Transport Protocol. Works on port 80. Also works on other ports, but it's HTTPS. It says you can use it to pull information. The main thing that happens is you do a GET request. GET basically is you go to a website and you get information. You do a GET request against it. Okay. Here's some of the stuff it can return. Bad request. Look at 404. Page not found. Has anyone ever seen a 404 error before? Let's see if we can find one. I'm going to go to rose.edu/mynameisken.html. Should not be a page out there. Now, if they do this correctly,
it should just have its own.
It should
page.
bring me to a, hey, the page you typed is not correct. Go here to find it or something. It didn't. That's bad. Do you agree? That's really bad. So what should happen, let me do another, aerospacereports.com. I used to take care of this website. See if this still works. My name is ken.html. Okay? HTML. Okay. Okay, it didn't find it, but hey, we can help you find other stuff here. You know, order a title search here. At least it's not showing me like Rose State did wherever I went to that one.
Yeah.
Right, just not found. It's kind of like yelling at you. At least this one says, hey, you know what? It wasn't there. But let us help you find what you're looking for. So, you know, there's just a lot of stuff. So 404 is that. There's just lots of other things you can get from it.
Not acceptable.
Forbidden, not acceptable, conflicts, 500 errors, you know, server doesn't support this request. And just by getting some of these return codes, you know what the server can support. Okay? You have GET, retrieves data. Head is the head information, like the head of the HTML, which you'll see in a second. Options, trace, connect, delete, put. You're putting data up there. You're posting it to a form. There's just all kinds of different things. And when you use that proxy, it'll actually show you all these, and you can manipulate the data. And here's an example. This is that's Netcat there. They're running. It'll even show you. You know, this is HTTP 1.1 200 is okay. And it's it's got. Here's what it supports: option, trace, get, head, post.
I think the chapter 3 labs used Netcat.
Ah, very nice. Okay, very nice. Now, just by looking at this, we know this is running IIS 7.5. Running ASP.NET. So by knowing that information, is that helpful to me at all? Yeah, now, okay, if I'm an expert on Apache vulnerabilities, I'm not going to go here. But now I can look up, I can go to this website. We're going to go over here. We're going to go to exploit, exploit.db, exploit-db. And I want to search for IIS 7.5. There you go. We got some vulnerabilities. There's an FTP server unauthorized remote denial of service, and there's this one right here. Different vulnerabilities. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can find. Okay, just by knowing what it's running, now we know that hey, there's an exploit, and I can even download this exploit right here. So.
But can't you, as a website administrator, can't you lie and say you're something else?
Sometimes. It was funny because when I was at Tulsa, I was in a class where we were given an operating system and a service to protect. We first had to install the operating system with no updates. And I was given Windows version something, I don't know what. And I had to protect the FTP protocol. What the FTP protocol, I'll show you what that looks like. So if I went into ftp.nei.com, you'll see I'm connected to, this happens to be McAfee's website, and they are running SPFTP version 1.0. So I can see the software they're running. But it's funny because my server was running FTP version 6. So I had to do it with no updates. Then people had to analyze it. Look for vulnerabilities. Like, you're running FTP 6. And this is called enumeration. I'm finding out what they're running. Okay? They says, you can't fix that. That's all they had to tell me. What I did is I went into the ftp.dll file, and I edited it with a hex editor. And I found out where it said Microsoft FTP version 6.0 changes to don't you wish you knew. It just happened to be the exact same link. and I saved it. Now, I didn't save it in the System32 directory. I actually saved it because Windows back then had that file consistency checker.
Yeah, I didn't like when you did that.
I changed it in the directory where it held the main files. So when I changed it there, it then thought the one in the Windows directory was bad, so it overwrote that one. And they were like, how did you possibly do that? So, I mean, that's coming from somewhere. If we were to get the executable for this FTP server,
Yeah,
that where it says SP/FTP/1 is stored somewhere.
Yeah, there's a file somewhere that has that in plain text.
Right. So you can change it.
So,
So, I don't know. Do we have FTP on this? Probably don't. Oh, sweet.
you got EXE up.
Can I open? Okay, open file location. Okay. No guarantees this is gonna work, guys. But we're gonna try it. Open ftp.exe, and then we can go down in here. I bet, edit, find text string, Microsoft. Okay, it found the text string right there. So I could literally go in here and change this to, oh, I can't change it. I gotta change it up here. Just like that. Don't you wish you know? See what I'm doing there? Then you save it. Then wherever Microsoft would happen to appear, it would say don't, just like that. Kind of cool, isn't it? So then I would do is I'd finish changing it. I would hit save. Then I would overwrite wherever it's stored. Now you got to make sure you change it the exact same. You can't add a character. You can't remove a character. Because when it gets to the assembly, you don't know what it's doing with it.
Yeah.
So I did it so it was like, don't you wish
Oh, assembly ID entity version.
you
So right there it says version.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, you can.
It highlights it in red. That it lets you know that.
Yeah. So it was, you know, it's cool you can do stuff like this. But they're not going to tell you that stuff. So now you know a little more what you can do with hex editor. Okay. All right. So, I mean, when I very first started working with internet, I worked with a company downtown where this guy was super paranoid. He changed everything. If you know anything about Linux, there's lots of defaults like except, etc directory and the var log directory, and everything's in a certain place. He took no defaults. He renamed everything. Like the etc would be like ABC. And I tell you, it was very hard working on his server because everything you had to know what he renamed it to, where he moved it to. But oh my God, was it secure? Because anyone trying to break in is kind of like, no, the door's not there. The door's, up on the very top left hand corner of that window or something. You're never going to expect it to be there. So
automated tools just wouldn't work.
Exactly. All right. If you know the methods, you can send requests to the web server and find out what they're running, the services they have, and how they work. Okay. You can find vulnerabilities. Kind of like I showed you. We found I was running IIS. Then we went on to exploit.db, and I guess it's exploit -db. And then we found there was a vulnerability for that version of IIS, and then we could load that vulnerability to Metasploit and take over their web server. Okay. Just URLs. Sometimes you can determine web servers, OSs, names. I used to use a program called Web Trends. It's basically an analytics tool. I ran it on my web servers. I could tell what kind of browsers you had, what OSs you were running, what versions you were running. It was actually very handy for me. Like I could look and say, way back when I was in the, let's say, right around 2000, what was the most popular web browser in 2000? Anybody? Internet Explorer. It was very popular, probably up in the 70 to 80% range.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of others.
So back then, I would run Web Trends and find out what the most popular browser was. Then I would develop web pages so they looked good on those browsers. I would optimize them for IIS. Then as those start changing, I would change the way my page, because there's some pages that don't work in Chrome even today. So yeah, I was buying something. AARP. By the way, you don't have to be old to use it anymore. I was buying Carnival gift cards on AARP. I could not buy them through their website. It would not complete the purchase. I had to do it in Safari. So it drove me crazy. Okay. There's also cookies and web bugs. I was gonna do something to you all today, but I didn't. I was nice. See, I have a website called kdewey.com. Probably gonna get rid of it because I really don't use it. I've used it for this one thing. I just hate to keep paying for it for this one thing. What I did was, okay, let me explain what a web bug is. A web bug is like a 1 pixel blank image. You notice how our emails now don't load pictures automatically?
Sometimes they don't.
Right. They don't because a web bug is just a blank picture. And what I did last year, or the year before, whenever I did it, I sent the students an email with a web bug in it, with literally a 1 pixel blank graphic in it. And the moment they loaded the email, that pixel, that graphic came off of my server. So in other words, when you opened up your email, it connected to my server, got the image, and displayed it in your email. I could tell what kind of OS you were running. I could tell your browser. I could tell everything. It was so funny because I sent it out, and people kept refreshing the email over. I sent it to Steve first. And Steve's like, refresh. And I kept looking. He kept hitting it over. And, Steve, what are you doing? He goes, this email, you got nothing in it. I'm like, I realized you can stop now because I've seen you open it 20 times now. So web bugs, a good use for them. Years ago, I was listening to the FBI speak somewhere. They had this guy, real bad guy, they couldn't find. He ended up going somewhere over the other side of the world somewhere. No one could ever catch him because he was always moving. Well, what they ended up doing is they sent him an email with a web bug in it, and it actually shows where your computer's connected, the exact IP address of where your computer's connected at. The moment he opened the email with a web bug in it, it pulled the graphic, and they knew exactly where he was at, but they went and arrested the guy. So, crazy stuff. So there's good uses for these things. Cookies are good. Let me show you what they're good for. Hopefully it still works. FedEx.com. Okay. FedEx.com. It's like, hey, where you live? North America. Okay. Y'all agree I just selected North America. I'm going to go back to FedEx.com. Actually, it didn't save the damn thing.
Disabled cookies.
I probably have my cookies disabled. What cookies are is when I clicked US, it probably attempted to write it to my browser, settings on my browser pretty much. And actually, let's see if IE does it. Let's see if IE does it. Okay, FedEx. What the heck? FedEx.com. We are in the United States. Okay, now let's close out IE. We'll close out Chrome as well. Now let's go back to IE. So we're probably blocking cookies, which is good. Cookies help. They store where you live. So next time you go to FedEx, it remembers. Yeah, they're for convenience. And sometimes shopping carts require them for transferring data. But they can also store stuff, like store search history, which might not be good. So it's not all that great. Stored in the user's browser. It's sent back to the web server when I go back there, but obviously mine are blocked. Sometimes they're used to customize web pages, like FedEx, make it automatically open up in the United States. Okay.
Just make it load the right language.
Right, exactly. Here's our web bug. 1 pixel by 1 pixel image. It basically is stored on the web server, so the moment you open it with your device, it has to go to the web server to get it, and the log file on the web server records your whatever, your phone, your computer, or whatever you open.
Just downloaded the image.
Exactly. Okay. So they work great. Again, I don't feel like keeping the website, so it might still be there. I don't know. Okay, DNS. I talked a lot about that, but it's really name to number mapping is what DNS is. People prefer URLs to IP addresses. Okay. There are some things in the world you just remember, like 66.210.163.130. Some you just remember certain addresses. It's gone now. Oh, okay. No, this is it. This is it. Okay. Yeah. This is, I used to run a company, and this was the IP address of the mail server. Obviously, it's still a mail server. but now they're allowing. They obviously updated the software. But how? I mean, we got phone numbers in our phones. They're normally associated with names. Okay, is there anyone who doesn't know their own number? There's always people who don't know their own number or don't know their parents' number because we go by our contact lists. That's what DNS is. It's a contact list for the internet. What is Microsoft's address? I don't know. What is Google? I don't know. DNS knows for me. DNS translates it for me. Okay. Yeah, it helps. It looks it up. It says people prefer URLs to IP addresses because IPs can change. DNS resolves names to numbers. Okay. I have a video somewhere about DNS. Don't know where it is. I'm not going to show it to you. Zone transfers, I've talked about that already, but it's transferring a zone from one person to another. You can use a lot of tools. You can use dig, which is basically a Unix-based command, but it works on some versions of other OSs. DNS starts with something called the start of authority. That's the main record that tells about, since I don't have DNS and I can't show it to you on here. It shows you how this DNS is configured, who the name server records are, when the retry, when the expired. Let's see if I can find DNS SOA example. EXAMPA.
Example.
Oh, I missed it. Show me a picture of an SOA record. Please, please, please. Actually, it's not going to show me one. I just knew it would be one on. You know what?
You have an example SOA in the PowerPoint.
Oh, I do, really?
It's on slide 42.
Sweet. So we're getting there. Okay, we're going to go back to that.
Right, at least that's what the slide.
Okay, so we're going to go to that one. Okay, we're going to go there soon. Whenever we get to it. Right here, we're doing a zone transfer, where you're, like Greg says, it's not a good thing to allow. You normally never allow it anymore, except between your own. Like Rostate has multiple DNS servers, so they probably allow transfers between each other, but that's all. Okay. Let's talk about social engineering. So the art of social engineering is older than computers.
Oh, I have a different version of the PowerPoint.
Chapter 4?
Yeah.
How do you have a different version?
I don't know. But there's about 5 or 6 slides between introduction to social engineering and
I don't
using
know.
domain names.
I don't know. I didn't.
But that's where the SOA example is.
So
I have it right there.
it's right there. Looks like.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah, fine. We'll go back and we'll find it here because I know there's going to be one.
So,
This is what an SOA record looks like in text.
42.
You know what? Okay, on the website. That's right. I didn't download it off the website. It might be. Well, who knows? But either way, that's what they look like. They're a text record. Okay. This says SOA right. There it is. It says SOA startup authority for ns1.corp.com. It talks about the serial number, which is incorrect, by the way. It talks about the refresh, retry, expires, default DTL. It talks about the records that are a part of it. Now, what you're showing is the Microsoft Server GUI interface for it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what they are actually stored in. They're actually DNS files. .dns.
You have one for rows, which isn't in a text file, but it's in like a spreadsheet.
Oh, where's that? I put that in there?
It's
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It's on Canvas. Well, the PowerPoint on Canvas.
That's right. Darn, I remember now. I did change some of those. That's one I should be using then.
And GUI.com DNS.
Yeah, darn it. Hold on. I remember that now. I edited some of them. I forgot. I'm using the older version. I'm showing you the ones from the publisher rather than the ones that I fixed. We're going to go to that one real quick. Yeah, this is the one we want. This is it. This should be it. This is where you got it from, isn't it? Okay. Come on. Did it download?
You only got that much at the bottom. Grab it.
No.
There.
All right. Now let's continue on. That's right. I remember adding this to it now. Editing, and we're going to add that. Seriously. Let's do F5. I remember doing that now. How did you? Oh, this is my webbook example.
Yeah.
There it is. Wow, I even put it in here.
You're
So
smart.
excited. This is what I sent out to people in class. There it is. There's the web bug. You can't see it. If you didn't load images that look like that, and that's where the image was. Wow, I did that. That's awesome. Okay. I also posted it here, but you can't see. And that's what it looked like on my server. I could see people were running Windows NT 5.1, NT 7, so on and so forth. This came from a iPhone 11.2.5. So, yeah, kind of a cool entry. So that's what a server log looks like when someone loads a web bug like it's on there. Did I spell?
Several logs.
It's okay. I'm conserving ours.
Pretty much the web, all web bugs is pretty much just an image that's stored on your server.
Right.
Now it's like open up whatever it is.
That's it right there. That's literally it.
Yeah, it goes to, and then it goes to the server to download the image.
Right.
And it,
Right. So
and
rather
it,
than pasting the image into the email,
Right.
I put a link to the image. And there's the link right there. It's still there. The website's good for a couple more days. So if you go to this link right here.
I mean, I used to do that before when I used to sell stuff on eBay. You guys didn't know what to call.
Yeah.
I used to put my whole eBay webpage on my server.
It's down already. Oh, well. Sorry. I haven't paid for it, so I guess it's actually finally gone. Darn it. Doesn't that suck? All right. But thank you for pointing that out. Okay.
I noticed the page numbers were different.
Okay, and it shows the different versions here. So I like going through these slides and adding stuff to it. Then I can actually look at the logs. I can see most of my students came from the United States. I have no idea why some people came from Russia, some from the Ukraine, which is crazy. You never know why. Most of my people came from Windows, most with Google Chrome. Okay, the DNS. Now let's go to there's an SO. No, there it is. There's an SOA record for kdewey.com. You can say cpanel.kdewey.com, webdisk.kdewey, CP calendars, and all kinds of webmail. These are all the host names on or the A records that point to the IP addresses on the right. So that's my DNS. That's what it looks like. You have serial numbers. Now, this is a correct serial number. Most people do not use them correctly. Microsoft even starts with serial number of 1, then 2. Then 3. Every time you make a change, they increment it. But that's stupid because you never know when the last change is. If you're running a Microsoft server and you look at it and your serial number is 827, doesn't mean anything. Your serial numbers, according to the RFC, should be year, month, day, then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know this DNS was edited 2007, November 18th. This is the first time I changed it that day. That's the correct way to do it. But most people don't do that. Okay. There's Rose's. See, look at Rose's DNS serial number. 452. What does that even mean? They've changed it 452 times. When's the last time they did it? I don't know. Okay. Okay, here's an example of one. Yeah. That is just an interface to point to that record. Okay. All right. Here's what the serial number. Oh, there it is. There's the RFC 1912. See, I knew what I was talking about. It's supposed to be that, but this came out so many years ago. Wow, it's crazy. This is good until the year 4249. Close. One or the other. Maybe I typed it wrong there. Okay. All right. Social engineering. We're going to go through the rest of these slides now. Okay. This is targets of the human component of a network. Obtain confidential information. Persuade, intimidate, coerce. Okay. A lot of people can be, intimidated very easily. Okay. It says the biggest security of social engineering is it. It says, why try to crack a password when you can just ask for someone and they give it to you? Read Kevin Minnick's book. He tells us so many times. Hey, I'm Joe from engineering. I'm trying to get into whatever, and I can't get the password to work. And he rattles off a password. No, that's an old whatever. No, the current one is such and such. And they would just give it to him over the phone. So it's crazy stuff. Okay. says social engineers study human behavior. What's his name? Jason Street. He goes around doing a lot of talks, and he actually posted on Twitter this morning or yesterday that he went someplace, and I guess you needed a password to get through the door, but he went over to the door, and if you pulled the left door and then the right door, the little latch let go, and the door opened wide up. It's like, wow. Well, they posted it yesterday, I think, on Twitter. Pretty funny. Jason Street, S-T-R-E-E-T. Yeah. He actually used to run a club that met here, but okay. Urgency is a big deal. You know, Bethany, my stepdaughter, today, while I was in a meeting, had a flat tire. She's 17 years old. It got flat at the school parking lot. So what do you think she did? Totally freaked out. Went crazy. Called them all. And Virginia's like, calm down. Stop. Just stop. Because she really freaks out when something, out of the norm happens. But if you can get someone rattled, they'll just give you the world. They'll give you anything you want. Okay? Or be very kind to someone. If you're really nice to people, people give you all kinds of stuff. Okay? Train users not to reveal information. In our office, I've ever got Mary. Some of you might have met Mary before. Sweetest person you're ever going to meet. Not very technically savvy. I don't think she's ever locked her computer. It's probably unlocked now, which is not a good thing. So.
Speaking of kindness, did you hear about the ex-husband that put a camera in his ex-wife's hotel room over here?
No, I hear that.
Yeah, he walked in with the baby.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, I'm her husband.
Yeah.
Can you let me in the room?" They gave him a key card, and he went up and put a camera in it.
Oh, wow.
And they're divorced and everything.
He's talking about right over here, a hotel by the school. The husband walked up and said, here's her with his baby. He went up and put a camera in his wife's hotel room, ex-wife. Wow. Okay. Shoulder searching. Be careful when people enter, or you enter, login names, passwords, PINs. There's a lot of videos out there showing a lot of people use debit cards. And if you go right up behind someone, and if you have a thermal camera, you can actually capture a picture of the keys. And obviously, the hotter keys are the one that would touch last. So I actually bought one of those cameras, and it actually worked, except the battery was screwed up, so I sent it back. But I didn't do it for that. Good reasons. Okay. So binoculars. I was in the Will Rogers Airport, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I was very impressed because the gates, they got the code to enter the gate. You go to the gate, and that last door to go down to the planes, I was watching everybody. They all went down. They kind of like covered themselves around it with the code in, which was good. No one could see them doing it. I was impressed they were doing that. I could expect them, out in the open where people could see it, but they didn't do that, so it was kind of good. Okay. Avoid typing when someone's nearby. This is computer monitors, face away from doors or cubicles, kind of stuff. They find information in trash, dumpster diving. What do you throw away? A lot of people throw away a lot of stuff. Passwords, policies, utility bills, resumes, all kinds of. Imagine throwing away a copy of a resume. Now I know everything about you. I know what your schooling is. I know potentially where you lived. I know your phone number. I know your jobs. I know what your skills are. It's just crazy stuff. Okay. Again, educate users. We're trying to get this done because we're almost out of time. Avoid piggybacking. Okay, we got the cyber lounge here with a swipe card on it. But really, the swipe card unlocks the door. We don't use it to track the people going in or out. Because once it's unlocked, everybody gets in or out. Probably not the best idea. But we're not trying to track every person. So, okay. Use turnstiles. Train people, notify people, security when they see someone doing something wrong. Okay. Phishing says update your account details. Those people send you emails. Please do this. Or I got one from Bank of Oklahoma asking me for my information, including what's the name of my bank. So Bank of Oklahoma was sending it to me. Why would they ask me what's the name of my bank? Which is stupid. Okay. Spear phishing, it says combine social engineering. This is directs to a specific person. So I'm going to go on DNS. I'm going to pull up a who is record, find out the administrative contact for the company off the DNS who is record, and then I'm going to send that specific person an email. And if I do it enough people, sooner or later someone's going to give me the information I'm looking for. All right, here's an example of PayPal. We need help resolve an issue with your account. So, stuff like that. Oh, here's one I got. This is a while ago. Oh, yeah, this was a good one. They represent a bunch of hackers. They've caught me doing something that I shouldn't be doing at work. And last month we put a virus on a porn site, and as far as you clicked on the play button, your appliance began recording your screen and activating the cam to cop your self-abusing. That was bad. I shouldn't have done this at work. But basically, I need to pay them 330 Bitcoins to keep them quiet. And if they don't pay them within like 30 hours, they're going to send it to all my friends.
$330 using Bitcoin.
Oh, 330. Okay. The problem is, that's where they screwed up. So if they sent this without the using Bitcoin parts, a lot of people would say, oh, crap, I'm going to pay the money. But can you imagine Mary? She already knew what a Bitcoin is. So how could she possibly pay this? She couldn't. So crazy stuff. But our advisor, Linda, who helps you all enroll, she got the same email the other day. No, it's not real. Don't fall for that stuff. Okay? All right, that's the end of this chapter, and we are basically out of time anyway. Any questions on chapter 4? So I'm glad you pointed out the slides. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'll put the recordings up in the morning. You are free to go about your business.